Hello and welcome back to my scrap room. My name is Jennifer Perry. I'm so happy you chose to join me today. We are going to continue with our page maps journey. I don't know if you followed us the last couple of weeks, but I found, when I was cleaning my scrap room, I found a book called Page Maps that I've had for years and years and years and years. I bought it when I first started scrapbooking, and you know how I love my patterns. So I thought, let me pick it up and let me see if there's something that I can use in it to create. And in the back of the book, like I said, I've had this book for many, many years, but in the back of the book, I noticed that for every layout they had in the book, they also had cards. So a couple of weeks ago, I tore out all the cards and I went, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself to use these page maps to create some updated layouts using updated papers. Of course, photos that aren't from 1999, which I think is when this book was put together, and just kind of see what I can do with it. So today we're going to be working with two single 12 by 12 layouts. I'm not going to do both layouts today. This one's going to be today, this one's going to be for next week. But I wanted to show you the ones that I'm going to be working on separately. But in the album, they're going to be side by side. And that's how I'm going to bring them together. So I'm going to use coordinating cardstock for both of them. I'm going to use pictures that go together on both of them and kind of bring them together that way, even though on the page maps they're two separate layouts. So let's get started. I also have a big bucket of thickers down next to me that I'm going to be digging into to make my titles and whatnot. And I will be stitching, I just don't know what color yet, so I have not pulled out any of my stitching. So the photos that I'm going to be working on for today, I'll put that up on my thingy so I can see what I'm doing. And by thingy, I mean this, my little document holder. The photos I'm going to be working with today, there is a restaurant that we go to every time we're in Florida called Perkins. I noticed that the last time we were there, there's been a few that are out of business, so hopefully they're not dying because we love going to them. But this was the first time we found Perkins, and we were just amazed by their portions. So we tend to go there because for the money that you spend, you get huge portions. You can order 2 entrees and feed 4 people. Okay, so I'm going to need this one, this one, this one, and one of these. And I'm going to scoot these out of the way because remember, I've got enough paper for both layouts, but I'm only going to do one layout at a time. So scoot that over there. This is the base. This one next. Okay. And it appears to be 9 by 9, it looks like. If you know anything about page maps, and I'll show you on the card that I don't have clipped up, the dimensions, the only dimensions they give you are on the photos. Nothing else has any dimensions because it's technically a sketch. So I'm guesstimating all of my cuts. So for this one, I'm guessing I need about an 8 by 8. Yes, my paper is bent up just a little bit. It got a little squished, but it's paper. It'll be fine. It's just paper. So for that one, I need an 8 by 8. For this one, I need a 2 by 12. And then for this one, I guess that I need like a 7. I have it off-centered. Like that. Okay, and then title, photographs, and journaling. turn you that way. And that way. That way, okay. Now for the size of my photos, I need 2.5 by 2.5, so that's going to be that one. Okay, so just make that one smaller, and there's 2, okay. That's a 6. Okay. Okay, so one thing that I do to make sure that I've got exactly what I want to scrap, where I want to scrap it, is I make these little vellum templates. And I kind of just position it where I want it to be, kind of showing a little bit of everything. And then I draw the shape. If you're using the Close to My Heart how-to books, they will give you all the measurements that you need, and that's where I first came up with this idea. Because I like to go ahead and do all of my cropping first before I actually get started. I'm doing it backwards today, but if you notice, normally my photos are already cropped when I get to you. And then I just keep them in this little container called desk templates. I have one for my desk and I have one for my crop bag. Now all I have to do is take my trimmer and follow my cut lines. And I know exactly what my photo is going to look like, and that it's at the proper size by doing it this way. Some of you guys are crazy talented and you can just look at the photo and crop it immediately the way it needs to be. I'm not that talented. Some of you guys can just throw caution to the wind and just start cutting. That gives me a heart attack. I can't, it gives me palpitations. So this is where my little obsessive part of me comes in. And I just have to make sure it's the way I want it, measurement-wise. So it's going to be like this. Like that. Like that. And then title. Okay. So before we lay anything down, let's look at our titles. And what, I think I want the black. I think that'll work because that'll pull in some black. And Well, that'll work, and that's perfect colors too. Okay. So I'm going to use the black for the titling, and then I like that one, so I'll pull that in too. So let's nail everything down. Oh, it's in front of my face. Lost my tape runner there for a second. Now this paper isn't from any certain collection. Remember I told you I mixed up all of my papers. So this is just papers from 2 different collections, I believe. It was getting time for me to be able to just mix it all up and get my paper used. I love my little tiny stapler, especially since I use vellum. So what color do we want to use? I'm thinking black to pull in the black. I'm going to use Old Faithful. He's falling apart, but that's what I want to use. And I have a bunch of black DMC thread already unwound because that is one of the colors that I use the most of. My push pins out and my threader. Now it is broken, so I'm going to have to bring it over some before I'm done. And I'll show you how I do that. But this is Old Faithful. I love this thing. It gives me the best stitching template spacing. So what I'm going to do is take my push pins out, scoot over the page, match up that hole's matched up, and just do this one. Do the same thing over here. Now this is where you see if your paper is actually down crooked, and when you stitch, it will definitely be able to show. So right here, the paper is crooked. If I bring it up some, you can tell that it's crooked, so I'm going to bring it down some. Put my push pin in. I'm also on this side going to bring it over some because I want to do cross hatches. So I'm going to do 2 stitches on this side. And that's where I'm going to make it line up with this guy. Now because vertical lines do take a little bit to stitch, I'm just going to put on either some music or a movie or a book, something that will keep my brain occupied while I'm stitching. And it goes much faster. Okay, so now we're going to do this way. And I want it to be offset a little bit. Nope. Right there. Make that one. And okay. Now I'm not going to put down any of the embellishments until I am done stitching because sometimes the thread will get tangled in it and cause them to pop off. So if you've noticed, I don't do, or I try not to do, any of the final embellishments until I'm done with the stitching. It really makes me sad that this is broken. And I'm going to do the same thing on the end. Okay. So I'm going to turn on a book. This is what my lines look like on the back. I'm going to turn on a book and start stitching. Okay, so I finished the stitching. There's the back side, front side, and now we're going to use our thickers. And these are Thickers Collection Delight. Get them out of that little storage bag. And uh-oh. Well, what I wanted to spell, I may not be able to spell. I can do a shortened version. Why? Okay, I can do a shortened version. That'll work. Okay, and now let's pull out this. This is the Critique Thickers. Basically, we went to Tuesday morning and hit the mother lode as far as thickers were concerned. So I like this one. Let's see what else we have. I'm going to leave it alone until I get the other side finished, but that's going to be next week. So at the moment, I'm going to call this one finished. I may pull it back in next week when I have both sides complete and do a few more little sparklies or whatnot with it. But at the moment, this is finished. So title, stitching, and again, 2 separate paper packs, and a page map. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Until next time, bye-bye.